Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve the occult medium level difficulty puzzles in Murdle books. Now, if you don't know what this is about, if you're watching this thinking, what are you talking about, what's this got to do with your channel, there is a reason why I'm doing this, and please bear with me. But there is a lot of people around the world who are enjoying these books, and I've got all of them that are currently available. So these are short murder mystery puzzles, and what happens is you have to read the short pages and then you have to solve the murder. But lots of people around the world are getting really stuck on the second difficulty because you have to work out who's lying and who's telling the truth, and it seems impossible, but when you know how to do it, which I'll show you in this video, it's actually quite easy. And it can be quite frustrating when you don't know, because I almost threw these books out first when I couldn't solve these. It all spoils the book. And even the later puzzles, which are much bigger, are actually easier. But let's get straight into this. How do you solve these puzzles? Well, I haven't done this before. I haven't prepared this in advance. So I'm going to go through with you doing it as I would normally do. So I've got my first drive pen ready. And here we go. So this one is number 41 in the third book, the green one. And it's called Bury Your Dead at Sea. I don't know if you'll see this that well on the camera. I'm just going to read it out. So it says, Deductive Logico and Inspector Irrationo, I think it is, decided that the best way they could hide out from the lurking arm of Tekko's futures was by going deep into the ocean to a scientific research facility that only they and a few of the people knew about. Unfortunately, one of those other people, a scientist, has just been murdered. So you're now given the usual background on the suspects. So we've got, these are really funny. If you haven't read these books, there is a lot of great humour in them. They're really funny. So the one suspect, Chef Aubergine, it is said that she once killed her husband, cooked him, and then served him at a restaurant. It's not true, but even the fact it's said about her tells you something. So it tells you that she's right-handed, 5'2", she's got blue eyes, blonde hair, she's a Libra. Those can all be relevant in the clues. And again, if you wonder what is all this about, what's this got to do with your channel, bear with me, you'll see. Then we've got cryptozoologist Cloud. Just because I murdered someone doesn't mean they can't be taken seriously as a scientist, especially when there are so many good cryptozoologists, or cryptoids, underwater. Please bear with me, I'm having to read this from a distance behind the camera, so it's not as easy as normal. 5'7", right-handed, grey eyes, white hair, Scorpio. Dr. Crimson. Ever since she came back from a working trip in Free Draconia, she's seemed different. It's not that she's more murderous. If anything, she's less. Still, it's strange. 5'9", left-handed, green eyes, red hair, Aquarius. And the locations, we've got the science room, where all the science gets done. What kinds? All kinds. Microscopic, biological, DNA, they've got it all. The open ocean, sometimes the researchers pop out for a quick scuba dive, check out the coral, maybe commit a murder. The room with the leak. Whatever this room was before, now it's just a room with a leak. And the weapons are a chess book. Who would buy a book that's just filled with puzzles and inscrutable diagrams? A pair of safety goggles, ironic to be killed by safety goggles if you ask me. An exploding beaker, science is dangerous, you can change the world or make a beaker that explodes. So now we get to solving the puzzle, and this is what I used to really enjoy doing at school. I used to love these puzzles. So the clues. An exploding beaker was not in the room with the leak. So the exploding beaker, which is this icon there, was not in the room with the leak. So we know for definite we can just cross that out. Cross. And this is quite easy at the moment, but it gets tough. I'm going to line that one out to say I've done that. A super intelligent shark communicated the following message. Dre, Ashi, whatever it is, or maybe super intelligent is generous. So this would probably say were found in the open ocean. So red, one of the weapons is red. Where is it? What's that? So that would be red hairs. Yeah, red hairs were found in the open ocean. So who had red hair? It is... So I'm doing this from behind the camera. Dr. Crimson. You're probably seeing this much quicker than me, but I'm having to film with my arms around the camera. It's making it a bit hard to see this. So red hairs were found in the open ocean. So the open ocean, that one there, was Dr. Crimson. So Dr. Crimson, the stethoscope, was linked to the open ocean. So we put a tick in that one and a cross in these, because once you've ticked one, the others in that row and column can't be the same. Now, this is where people, including myself, were having trouble. You have to work out who's lying, which gives you a bit of a clue as to why I'm making this video. No, not because I'm lying, you'll see in a bit. So, what you have to do is, you have to assume that first of all we're going to assume the chef is lying and the others are telling the truth. You then complete the grid. If you can't complete the grid, so if you take that as a lie, truth, truth, and you can't complete the grid, it doesn't match up, it doesn't work, you're wrong, they're not lying. If you assume that they're lying, and you can then complete the grid, that's the murderer. So that's where people are having trouble, including me and thousands of people around the world. In this third book, they did actually make the instructions clearer for this. So if you gave up after the first two, this is how I found out about this. I worked it out from the clearer instructions. So you assume that one person is lying and the other two are telling the truth. You complete the grid, and if you can complete the grid, the person you thought was lying is lying. That's the murderer. So let's get on with this. It can be a bit hard to fill the grid in, especially when you're filming from behind the camera. But I'll show you the way I do this. You can just draw 3 of these grids out and it's easier, but I'm going to do it as I normally do in one grid. So Chef Aubergine says, I am a humble chef. All I know is this. A chessbook was in the open ocean. So let's assume the chef is lying. That means the chessbook was not in the open ocean. So we find the chessbook, which is that one there, and it was not in the open ocean because we think they're lying. So I'll put a little X there. I don't fill the box in completely because I don't know if that's true or not. Now we assume these two are telling the truth. So Cryptozoology Cloud says, first I thought I saw a Bigfoot. Then I realised it was only that a pair of safety goggles was in the science room. So let's assume that's correct. So safety goggles, that one there, was in the science room, that one there. So we put a tick, a cross, and a cross, and a cross, and a cross, and a tick, and a tick. I can explain this in other videos, but this is the basic way. You've probably got to this stage where you know how to do this before. So that means by cross-referencing, the open ocean would have to match there with the beaker, because the cross, the tick and the tick go there. So we can tick that and put crosses here. Cross-referencing is the secret to doing this well. Now, the Dr. Crimson says Chef Aubergine bought a chessbook. Well, if that's true, let's see. So Chef Aubergine bought a chessbook. So tick for chessbook, cross, cross, tick. Now, does this match? Tick, tick, tick. So we've now completed the grid, but does it match? So we've got the drops, that's the room in the leak, book, drops. We've got the science goggles, it all matches up. So that means Chef Aubergine is lying, because if it doesn't match up, it will look more like, show you one I've done before, this. You see what I've kind of scribbled out? and halfway through it didn't line up, things didn't line up, it didn't match. So you have to scriggle out the one you did and then start again. But thankfully, and I did not plan this in advance, we've got the killer straight away. So they're lying and they're telling the truth, because by doing the opposite of what they said and then doing what they said. So I mean, they were lying, so we did the opposite. Chef Aubergine said his chess book was in the open ocean, so we said, okay, it wasn't in the open ocean because they're lying. So that means that the liar is a killer. So the killer was the chef. With what was the book? It's hard to write behind the camera, excuse the writing. And where? In the room with the leak. So what I like to do is I like to go and look up the clues first of all. And I may have got this wrong, but let's just see. So the hints say, for this one, by holding his breath until he almost passed out. It said that in the last book. Inspector Irrational had a vision of cryptozoology's cloud using a pair of safety goggles. So that means cryptozoology's cloud should have had safety goggles. Yep, so we've got it correct, probably, because that's correct. So I'm going to say the killer is Chef Book Leak. So it was Chef Aubergine with a chess book in the room with the leak. Let's look up number 41. Oops, it's somewhere around here. Have we got it right? It should be Chef Book Leak. Chef Book Leak. I did it. Yes, I did it. I haven't got any wrong so far using this method. I should have. I won't read it all out, but there you go. That's how you solve these. So you assume that that one's lying and do the opposite. Then complete the grid, as I did. You may have to go back and watch that again for it to make sense. But if that didn't add up, let's just say that the grid doesn't make sense, so there's a tick, and if you go over here and correlate the drops there have an X, you think, well, that doesn't work, I've got it wrong. If it doesn't match up, the person was telling the truth. Like, if I go back and show you some of these, I think, yeah. So in that one, truth, it took me 3 goes, lots of squiggling to work it out. And what you do is, if it's wrong, you squiggle out one of these and go back and do the other one. The circles are the way I show that's definitely true. So if you assume that person is lying and it turns out they're telling the truth, complete the grid saying that and put a ring around it to say that is definitely true. That's how I do it. So what's any of this got to do with my work? Well, those of you that only came for the puzzle may want to leave now. But what's this got to do with First Drive? Well, if you don't know, I work as both a driving instructor and a hypnotherapist, and I help people overcome anxiety, fear and phobia online. And one way you do it is by spotting inconsistencies in what they're saying. For example, in one of my cases, one of my clients said that they hated liars, they couldn't stand lying, they'd even fallen out with a family member because of lying. So I said to them, well, you can drive, right? And I said, yeah, I've been driving years. So why are you lying to yourself? And it took him a few seconds to get it. And I said, well, look, you're saying you can drive, but you're going out being anxious or whatever, pretending you can't. So what's all that about? And they were like, oh, I remember they said, oh, that's a good one. It was something to do with test pressure, if I remember. And they said, oh, that's a good one. And that led to the solution to their problem. So you see, the way I get good at therapy, one of my secrets, as you were, is Murdle. I actually solve murder mysteries to help me solve people's anxiety. I don't find the answer they do, but I use logic to pull apart illogical statements, which leads to a contradiction, which enters hypnosis, because the way you hypnotise someone, one way you can do it is to put 2 statements together that are not true, and it fries your mind. Like, I don't like liars, but I'm lying to myself. And you just go into a trance thinking, what? That's not what? So there you go. Check out these other videos of mine on the screen now if you'd like to find out more about me and my work. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos, maybe more puzzle solving if you want on a different channel.